Oh, he's also a member of the Breast Force.
Well, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Well played.
Welcome to Figure Knights Theater episode 17, which is titled... Josh?
Yes.
No.
Very nice. Alright, I'm your host, Andrew Schatz. With me, as always, is Drew Merkel. What's up, Drew?
Hi.
Josh Carius.
Yo!
And R.D. Blade.
What's up, Internet?
The ceiling.
You've said that before. Come up with a new answer.
Hard dicks and aeroplanes.
Wow.
What was that first one?
Heart.
Well,
All
there
right,
goes
Drew.
our PG rating.
We never
What
had
PG
that.
rating? Alright, Josh.
Yeah.
What have you gotten recently, buddy?
I got a bunch of things, most of which I don't have with me anymore because we're moving and they all went to storage. But
Oh no.
Oh, yay, that's always fun, yeah.
I got Studio Series Blackout, which I really
Nice.
have enjoyed. I had some issues with, surprisingly, I've heard a lot of people talking about like tabs not fitting in. My issue was tabs fitting so well that it got scary trying to pull them out. I like had to get a little thing and crowbar it apart, and then
Oh.
like because like, when I was trying to do it by hand, like the plastic was literally about to snap.
Ooh.
So like the panels that hold his shoulders in, they clip together
Cringing
way too
just
strongly.
thinking about it.
But I took a little knife and a file down to it and solved that issue. And apart from that, he's great. I really love him. The size of him is so much nicer than because I had the original Voyager back in the day, and he's such a beautiful figure. Honestly, the hands are wonky, but we'll talk about that later.
You're such a size queen.
He could be bigger. He could be bigger. He's a smaller leader from like the leaders that I grew up with. But in vehicle mode he's really big. He does the same thing that the original Voyager did, where he had a large vehicle mode and a small robot mode. Though this one it's more just the way it folds together rather than the original Voyager was, well, that's because half of the vehicle is just a giant thing that he holds.
Right.
Yup. What else you get, buddy?
I also got Generation Toy Op X, which is their IDW Optimus Prime. And that's
Very cool.
such an awesome transformation sequence. I really love the way everything folds together. He makes just such a beautiful, almost completely kibbleless robot mode, and the kibble that is there is supposed to be there. He's got like the wind vane on his back, but that's part of the character design. The way everything just kind of sucks into his torso, and it kind of turns inside out in a really intuitive and not difficult way is incredibly enjoyable, and the light up eye gimmick is something I don't have on anything else. And I hope more third-party figures start incorporating that because it's really nice. I also got from an old friend of mine, Energon Omega Supreme, -1 missile, but he's still in pretty decent condition apart from that. And that's a figure that a friend of mine had growing up. And so I remember being like 8 playing with that with like the friend had Omega, I had Optimus, and I still have that same Optimus, and it's really fun making the Power Link Optimus Supreme thing that looks really doofy but is still fun to me. I also got this is a tiny one, but I got Cybertron Drill Bit, which is the minicon that goes with Metroplex, because when I bought Metroplex from Josh Bertram at TFCon, he didn't realize until he was handing it over to me that Drill Bit had had a bit of a disagreement with his dog. And that it was like just half of him was chewed to bits. So I now have a proper one that I found at a little store in Potomac Mills, because apparently there's this little store called Records and Rarities that has a whole bin of Transformers, and it's like a little corner of TFCon's dealer room, and it's really nice. And from there I also got Beast Wars Snapper, which is one of those little quick flip converter ones from Beast Wars And he's a little snapping turtle. I got that for my girlfriend, so that's where he resides now. I gave him to her because she has a collection of turtles. And I thought, aha! I'll give you a Transformer that's a turtle. And last show, I think, I talked about how I got Titan's Return, or rather, the Takara Legends Skull Cruncher, and he was broken. And I finally got the replacement head for him, so I got a functional crocogator head now. So he's a lot nicer. Yeah, that's what I got this month. Whatever. Unit of time.
This unit
That's a good
of time.
load of stuff. Very nice. All right, Drew, what did you get?
So, I don't think I got very much. But what I got's kind of something I've wanted a really long time. The new Jurassic World line has some what they're calling legacy character figures. So I got the Dr. Alan Grant and the Muldoon, and finally have a Dr. Alan Grant that looks a lot like Dr. Alan Grant. I mean, it's not perfect; it's a cheap figure, but definitely better than that stuff they put out in the '80s, where everybody had muscles and wore neon colors. So, and I think that's really about it. I haven't really been hitting the toys too hard lately.
All right. RD, have you gotten anything lately?
No, I haven't gotten any new figures lately. I did open some of the ones that that we spoke about last time.
Good. You opened your Power of the Primes Dinobots?
Yeah. So I built Volcanicus. He sucks. And
You could get that Transform Dreamwave upgrade kit. That makes him look really nice, actually.
Okay, I actually might consider that because this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
And
that whole concept's not acceptable. Next.
Moonracer. Now I want to comment on Moonracer. She is the longest car I have ever seen.
I really like that about her design, though.
And then if you add that little fist part to the back of the car, it makes it even longer. It's like it looks like a bus.
So she's a limo.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's it, man. That's all I've got. And I got some DVDs, like Mighty Orbots, man, which never had a toy. But
oh wow,
what'd you get, Andrew?
All right, I got Mastermind Creation Stray figure, which is their Drift, and that is honestly one of the best MMC figures they have ever put out. Like, the paint details on it just really set it off and make it stand out and look like a premium product that it's supposed to be. The transformation is awesome. Like, it's really fun to do. It's not hard to do. Everything makes sense. It's very intuitive. It has this cool step where there's tires in his knees. That's where some of the wheels are, but it's like the front bumper kind of folds up to become the kneecap or knee spike, and you pull it forward and it makes that tire hide in his knee. And I just thought that was a really cool way to hide that. And holds his swords really well. They can go in the sheaths. His big great swords, you can store that on. There's a little panel thing on his back that flips up that can hold it, and you can move that to get the angle you want. And he has giant ball joints on his shoulders, which actually gives him a little butterfly motion. So he is just incredibly articulated. I just could not be happier with how that came out. So highly recommend that. I also picked up, thanks to my buddy Scott, the Marvel Legends Vision and Scarlet Witch 2-pack. That's started to show up at Toys R Us's, even though the stores are closing. So we got it for 10 or 20% off, which made it be sub 20 per figure. And that is a killer set. I mean, both figures look awesome. They have the face scanning technology that Marvel Legends are using, so both of them really look like the actress. And Scarlet Witch especially, I have the original MCU release of that, and it's decent, and I'm gonna send it to Drew because he wanted it. But
yeah, we got to get back to talking about that. But
Yeah, we will.
I dropped the ball, dude.
That's all right. But yeah, the new one, like, it really looks like Elizabeth Olsen. It's a lighter skin tone. You know, they made the hair a little more red, and then they changed the accessories are kind of like these jelly feeling like magic effects that wrap around her hands, and it just looks more like what her magic looks like in the movie. So that's really cool. And then Vision has you know, he's colored and everything about him is just like how he looks in the movies. And the cape that they gave him is kind of translucent a bit, so it has some of that yellow gold look with a little pink in it and some tech details. Really, really well done. Couldn't be happier with that. And then I forget if I mentioned last time, but I also picked up some Studio Series figures. So I have Blackout, who I also agree is awesome. Transformation it's not too bad. It's just, you know, he's very panely, so you have to line up everything. And I found the key is if I get his legs arranged in helicopter mode just right, everything will line up better. I didn't really have the issue that Josh did with the panels, although I do find it weird in robot mode. It looks like there's these panels where the shoulders should lock into them, but they kind of don't. And I'm not sure if they're supposed to or not.
They took some cues from Deluxe Brawl.
I'm not familiar, but okay.
The original Deluxe Brawl from the 2007 line had shoulders that came from within his gun turret and then tabbed onto the sides of the torso. And, you know, they had little holes they were supposed to fit into, and they went in those little holes. Right. Then you move the arm, and then they were no longer in those little holes.
Yeah, mine, like, the tabs, you know, you can line it up, but it doesn't lock in at all. But it doesn't really affect anything, and I'm like, are they supposed to lock in or not? I don't know. But that is an awesome figure, and that helicopter mode is just massive. So really cool looking figure. I got the Grimlock from Amazon. No, wait, from my local Target. And Amazon dropped the price to like $40, $43, something like that. And I had a gift card too, so I think I only paid about $35 for him. And that's a really cool figure. You have to be when you're transforming him, you have to make sure you really push and lock things in. Otherwise, he does have a lot of gaps going on in dinosaur mode. But he has a really cool transformation, pretty good look. He's not perfect. Like, he has this little tail flap thing going on that doesn't really lock in, but, you know, it's not that bad, and he does look cool. And I got the Starscream, which that's my favorite out of all of them. I really love how they did Starscream. You just really solid Raptor F-22, you know, airplane mode, and the robot mode's really cool, very posable. And just really fun to transform too. Like I've just been enjoying that figure. And I also picked up the Thundercracker. That's the Toys R Us exclusive one. That's a repaint of Nitro. And that's a really cool figure too. But you know, he's just like Nitro. I sold off my Nitro, and then I'm like, you know, I kind of missed the mold, and because TRU has their closing sales going on, I got it kind of cheap. And that's all I got.
It's cute how you have a Toys R Us that actually has Transformers on the shelves.
Yeah, that's amazing that we do. But we have two of them, actually. But not for much longer.
Mine, I think they had their actual closing yesterday. Or no, a couple days ago.
Oh, wow.
But but when I went there, I was just all in Furnicus's.
Yeah, I've seen some of those, and some of those... the repainted Cybertron are sitting there still, but like everything else is pretty much gone. Just like some RID combiners and stuff is sitting there. But there's like tons of boxes of those Studio Series Thundercrackers sitting there, and a lot of those Vision Scarlet Witch packs at my TRUs. Alright, so let's start with our topics. So finally, after so long, Takara had some masterpiece announcements.
Yay!
And, yay. So the first one is MP42 Cordon, and this is a repaint of Sunstreaker as his white Diaclone police car mode. So I'm gonna load up our links so I can talk about that a little more. Do that. There we go. All right. So yeah, it's what they had on display at. Did I say what show it was at? I don't see it, but some one of those Asian toy shows. And yeah, so this is what they showed was literally a white painted Sunstreaker. Like they literally took a Sunstreaker and painted him white. We have some official images that look a little better and cleaner, like you don't see yellow in the knees. But yeah, there's a light bar on the chest. The head is different. The face is silver looking. It's a different mold. He has giant wings on his head that are painted red, and his eyes are red too. So it looks really cool like that. And then his shins actually have some tech details on there, so that's a different piece than Sunstreaker. And that just really looks beautiful. And he comes with a little silver chrome looking gun, and he also, I think you can fold his hand in and put like a wrist missile launcher looking thing on it as well. Drew, why don't you comment on this, since this is one of your favorite characters repainted?
I'm really happy to see this. Mm-hmm. It also kind of cheeses me off a bit, because there's so much of this that could have been put, as extras in the Sunstreaker box that would have made me have snapped this up already. That head would have been an instant sell for me. The wrist launcher would have, helped things out. This, if that had been included just as an extra, this face is more, it's more toy based, but at least to me, this face somewhat looks like some version of the character to me. Mm-hmm. The other one just didn't, and in this case, the alternate Lamborghini mode at least makes a little more sense. Because this can be like an undercover mode and then a pursuit mode or some shit. Like Knight Rider. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I don't know why the name Cordon. That's just awful.
Yeah. like cordon off the crime scene?
Yeah. Like you're cordoning off an area, but
it is. But there's
the best name. Yeah.
There's so much. There was so much more. I mean, hot pursuit because he thinks he's so hot. There's just other ways they could have taken that. Mm-hmm.
Maybe in Japanese the name is cooler sounding, and that's just what it translated to.
Cordon.
That could be part of it.
Yeah. Cordon would sound cooler in even just with the Japanese accent, it would sound cooler.
Yeah, with that extra syllable they throw in.
Exactly.
Let's hear it, Artie.
I just did it.
Yeah, Josh just did it.
Josh just did it.
Yeah,
it's there. You can hear it in the playback. But
right.
Yeah, now I'm like, I wish he wasn't as highly priced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like $100 from the Asian sites and even more from the US sites.
Yeah, I still haven't brought myself to like trust getting it from those Asian sites. I know people do it all the time, but my luck, I'd be the guy that gets one with 2 right arms and a foot broken and a big scratch across his face, and I would not be able to get like another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
It worries me when you're spending this much money.
Are you actually going to pick this up, though, you think?
I don't know. I really want to, but with the other thing that we'll be talking about in a little bit, it's just like so many things are like coming out, and it makes decisions tough. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding that, I don't mess around with the Blaze nearly as much as the Bagcube Red Diaclone as much as I would have hoped.
That makes sense.
The the likely thing that could happen, and I'll probably get crucified for saying it, but when they do KOs of this in Sunstreaker, I will definitely buy this one and that one and put this one's head on that one and paint the things yellow.
That's fair enough.
That is something that will happen. The whole reason I didn't buy the Masterpiece Sunstreaker is because I knew I'd want to modify it because I can't stand that head.
All right.
And if I'm going to be cutting up on something, it needs to be something cheap.
All right. Anyone else have comments about Cordon?
They could have named him Prowstreaker.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. This is a big one, literally. MP43 is Beast Wars Megatron, masterpiece version of that. They had a gray prototype shown at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, and I probably butchered that.
I'm sure.
Add a syllable.
He's even taller than Masterpiece Dinobot, so he's huge. Just enormous. Looking at the prototype images, you can see they, like Dinobot, they did molded in scales all over his body. The teeth on the dino head look really, really pointy and sharp. They're probably not that sharp, but they do have nice detail. There's even like a gum line in there, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's hear some comments. RD, what do you have to say about Megatron?
I like it, man. It looks pretty cool. Head's a little big. He kind of has a noggin on him.
Mm-hmm.
That looks actually pretty accurate to the animation model, actually.
Does it? Because it seems to look pretty accurate to the toy, the original toy, which had a large dome.
I'm looking at a screenshot, and his head actually looks a tiny bit bigger on the screenshot than it does on the toy.
Huh. But yeah, they've captured him, man.
Oh yeah.
That's a pretty good representation of Megatron.
Anyone else have comments about him?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes!
No.
Since I don't already have a well-articulated version of this character, and I freaking love T-Rexes, this will have to be obtained no matter the cost.
Megatron must be bought, no matter the cost.
Yes, there you go.
Where's Trevor when
Very
you need
nice.
him?
Not here.
But yeah, this looks cool. They haven't shown the Dino mode yet, and
It's all there.
they haven't shown it yet. But I'm thinking it's probably maybe a slightly simpler transformation than Dinobot. So maybe it won't be quite as panely as his Raptor mode looks. So this should look great. It's going to be expensive for sure because this guy is really tall and really massive and super detailed, and there's a lot of engineering there. So the speculation about the price has been all over the place.
From what I can see here, this transforms just like the toy.
Yeah,
Just
with, a few extra moving parts.
Yeah, but from what I can see, this, and I love that thing, the original toy. I mean, it lacks some articulation, and it doesn't do but like the one pose in dinosaur mode. But it's a pretty good looking T-Rex.
And it looks like on this one we've got a pretty static tail, honestly, but at least like the very tip of it looks like it does pivot up and down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of can't engineer articulation in the tail because it has to become that big claw shield thingy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I also see is that it looks like, it has to be that the tail is removable because there's an arm under that tail. You can see his thumb.
Yeah, it looks like he just holds it or something.
Well, he kind of wears it like a gauntlet on the back of his arm.
Oh, yeah. I see his hand.
Yeah.
I see a thumb and a finger.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. You think he'll come with a golden disc or and a rubber ducky?
Rubber ducky, I hope.
Is his finger and his thumb in the shape of an L?
On his forehead? Yes.
I'll thank you.
All right. Anyone have any other comments about Megatron?
No.
Nope.
I'm excited to see him all colored up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, really wonder when he's coming out. Maybe the end of the year or something. Next up, we have MP 29 Plus and 36 Plus. Now, that would be Shockwave / Laserwave and Megatron. And the Shockwave and Megatron, they're more toy-colored versions. So, Shockwave has kind of nicer, darker colors, like he should have had in the first place, in my opinion. He does have an insane price of $209 on BBTS because he is I believe, a Takara Tomy Mall exclusive. Let's see, Megatron, on the other hand, has shiny chrome paint. He has a toy-styled head, has the swirlies on his chest, and the barrel, the gun barrel that goes on his back, can move down and go on his waist. So, there is that. And they haven't shown what other accessories come with him, so we don't even know if he comes with like the silencer and the big stock or anything. So we'll have to see about that.
If they're going for toy,
It needs to.
yeah, they better have those bits.
I would hope so, because I don't, the normal one came with it. It wouldn't make sense otherwise. But yeah, I sold off my Shockwave that I got, and I had it for a good price, but it was very lavender, and maybe that was accurate to something. I don't know what exactly. Maybe certain shots from the show or something. But seeing that mold in darker colors, yeah, I like it a lot more, but not for $200. I got Quake Wave, and mine has a slightly darker paint job on it. I got the reissue, just the normal version, and that's more menacing looking. It's more beefy. I feel like it's built a little more solidly. It just has a better shelf presence. So I sold off my MP Shockwave, and I went with Quake Wave. What do you guys think about this Shockwave and the Megatron?
Like you were saying, I got two versions of Quake Blast for like 2/3 of the price of what this is.
Yeah.
So I got the purple one and the black one, and I still hadn't spent this much money.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think the seeing this mold in this color, I'm way more forgiving of it. It looks more right to me in this color, because somewhere in my head's still stuck in that space where Masterpiece has a little bit of tune and a little bit of toy in it.
Right.
And it hurts my brain to see some of the choices they've made. And the thing about this Megatron that really gets under my skin is here they've put out a shiny one that looks like a gun, and I bet they're not going to have a version of the Toon Head in with this.
You're probably right.
And
yeah.
there's people out there in the middle, and I know why they're doing it. They want you to buy both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I understand why that makes sense for their business model. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Masterpiece. We do want some options.
Yeah. Oh, there's a picture of the gun mode, and it has the silencer and stock on it, by the way.
There we go.
Yep. Oh, and the scope actually has some toy molding in it because it has the lines at the end of it. So that's a little different too.
I'm looking at the picture of the gun mode, and it's got the full gun with all the stuff on it, and then the arrow pointing to the smaller gun with just the scope on it. I think the full gun is actually the original MP, because if you look at it closely, I know it's tiny, but I don't see the swirlies.
It doesn't have the.
And I definitely do not see the added insignia on the handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could be right.
So I think they're just sort of recycling that picture.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing I noticed though about this design is it's going very, very, very toy, to the point of, look at the gun mode that we actually do see of this. Notice how they've chromed the bit that becomes his chest and the whole section behind that. but they have deliberately not chromed the trigger area or the barrel itself, because the original G1 toy didn't have chrome in those spots.
Oh, wow.
That is G1
I
legit.
see that, yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with
They went super G1.
the same thing with the Cordon head.
Mm-hmm.
That's so toy it hurts. Which I think
this,
looks
this
cool.
one really
but...
does hurt, because no, that was a problem with the original. Fix it.
With Shockwave, I'm just looking up a picture to verify something. Yeah, they did change the head just a little bit, because if you notice on Shockwave, the new one, the black area where the little yellow dot for his eye is, it's very squared off now.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
is
Whereas
that?
the original had that whole area was the full shape of, that 6-sided shape was all black with the dot in the middle. Now it's a square. So that
I noticed
know
that
if
too,
that's-
and that just looks so dumb.
It looks unnatural.
yeah, you're right. I don't know if that's how the toy was originally or what, but yeah, it's a little weird.
And now I need to look up a
Alright.
picture of Shockwave's G1 toy head. Hang on.
Yeah, that's
Y'all
what
talk.
I'm looking up too.
Oh, you're looking it up already? Okay.
Yeah, I am. And let's see. I'm looking. Sorry for the delay. I'll edit that out. And I can't get a good pic of it. All right. You can look and let us know, Drew.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of
Oh,
browsing.
I got it. No, I don't think it looked like that, from what I see.
No, it didn't really, did it?
No, it was just
In fact, there's no paint in the G1 toy head in there at all.
no. It's just all that purple with a light in the middle. Yeah, I don't see a square, so I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to. I'm on the tfu.info page for him,
Yeah.
and I almost see a square, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it might actually be that there is a black square panel.
I see where they got it. I see where they got that from the G1 cartoon, because I see some images here. He did have it like a sunken in square in there, but it was more purple, not black.
Yeah, I see this on the toy,
Yeah.
what Josh is talking about too. It's like part of the mold has a bit of that square shape to it.
maybe
all right.
I'm not sure though. It could be.
It does. It's I don't know, let's see whose picture I'm looking at so I can give him a little credit.
Oh,
The
I
man-
see what you're talking about now. Yeah.
The man who stares at toys, well, this is talking about a knockoff, so that picture I've got could be of a knockoff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there's
I see the animation version that I think it was Andrew was talking about, where it looks squared off in a darker purple.
Yep.
I just pinged you guys in the Skype. It's the shot of him holding himself. You can see there's
Yeah,
there's-
that's what I saw. All right.
We're so mature for 40-year-olds. Okay.
All right, let's go on to the next topic, because we've been on Shockwave a bit.
Savant!
Yeah, next we have X-Transbots Savant, which is their masterpiece skids. Very odd name for the character. I get what they're going for, because he can learn anything quickly, but Savant implies you have autism, very, serious case of autism, to where you're extremely intelligent in one area, like mathematics, kind of like Rain Man. So
Definitely.
interesting name, but I'll let it pass because it's skids. So let's take a look at him.
Interestingly, Nautica was referred to as a savant in the More Than Meets the Eye Season 2 promotional materials.
Interesting.
She is a little socially awkward, though. So.
Yeah, I think Roberts has gone out on Twitter and said yes, she's supposed to be somewhat autistic.
Oh,
Same
that's
with Ron.
fun. Mm-hmm. All right, so looking at skids, he is definitely based. He has his G1 car mode, and it is pretty G1 looking, but where his shoulders are is up more, and I think we've talked about him before, so these are just new renders. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah, we've definitely looked at this before, like with the giant giant back of the car calves.
Yeah, we've looked at some of these, but these renders are updated and new, so you can really get a good look what he looks like. But I think he looks great. It still looks great. Still has a little bike. What's the model of the Honda he is, Drew?
He's a Honda City Turbo.
That's right.
It's like an 81 or an 82 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of these first city cars. It's what they call a key car, K-E-I.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully the little bike scooter stores in the car, like in the back or something. I hope it does.
It better, because including it means you've got to make a place for it in the car, because that's the point.
It looks like it has a transformation too.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it turns into something.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least compresses into something.
And
pre-orders for him went up, by the way. So he's about $100, I think, is what I saw for him.
RD, that's probably what it is, because the bike does fold a little to go inside the car.
Hang on. He's
Like
got
the real
seats.
Oh yeah, he's got a full interior.
Yeah. I mean, he's also got like the little skid's head folded up in there, but
Right.
He's $89.
Play some little X-Bron game with him. Have him poke his head up while the driver's getting all confused.
I'm ready to see this not be a render now.
Oh yeah, they showed some. They've only shown like we have like some other pictures coming up, but
there's some great.
They have a prototype of them, but it's just the robot mode, and that's all they've shown. But yeah, $89.99 is what I see on U.S. retailers for him. And of course, he is going to be repainted into Crosscut, because that makes sense. So they had a little picture of Crosscut as well. That's the kind of gray silver repaint, and the head's red with a faceplate on it. And that looks cool as well. And I remember he was briefly in More Than Meets the Eye during Dark Cybertron.
He better come with a shovel.
I don't see a shovel, but that's a More Than Meets the Eye thing. But that would be cool if he did. But the repaint looks cool if you like Crosscut. All right, anyone have any comments? Any other comments about Savant or Crosscut?
Nah.
No.
I'd rather have.
I'm happy with my generation skids, honestly.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's the only way I really know Skids. I mean, he was in the cartoon for like 2 seconds, but yeah,
Are there any oversizes of that? Because that's what I want.
I think someone made one. Yeah, talk to Joseph. He might know more about that. That's Derivative Films, Joseph. People.
Yes, Joseph.
Yes. All right. Next topic we have a few Planet X releases. So first up we have their Insecticons. So they have PX-17 Morpheus, 18 is Phobator, and 19 is Phantassus. And hopefully I said those correctly. And they they've shown like renders and prototypes before, but now they have them in color. And they look really good actually in color. Looked like they hopped right out of the game to me. They look really cool. Let me click through some pictures because I did have comments. Now their bug modes, they have like the translucent purpley looking wings. Those aren't the best looking to me. Like I feel like they could have incorporated those a little better, made them look a little nicer. But these guys are smaller because I think they're $30 each, so they're smaller and a little cheaper than the other ones. And that just might be part of doing the wings like that might be part of the cost savings as well. Trying to hit that price point. Josh or RD, what do you think of these?
They're all right. I mean, this aesthetic has never really been my cup of tea. Although I did like the deluxe kickback that came out a while back, and this looks pretty close to it.
Yeah, it does. I remember the Generations one had this crazy transformation where you split the whole figure in half.
Yes.
This I'm guessing this one doesn't do that, but yeah. All right, Josh, are you into these?
It's interesting what Planet X has chosen to do with these guys, because they've had a very specific aesthetic going on up until this point, where they've all been roughly Voyager size and, you know, roughly masterpiece level as far as parts count and detail and articulation and such.
Yes.
And what these seem to be are deluxe class, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're maybe even scout size, and looks like the engineering has been downsized accordingly. Like, they're not Hasbro deluxes, but they're like, you know, what you would expect of a third-party $30 deluxe figure. And it's an interesting take on it, and while I am not interested in this particularly, I think they picked the wrong characters to do that with, because especially like Hardshell, because it's Hardshell in the game, within the game, and I think the other two as well, were large bots. Like, Hardshell was a tank. I mean, he's tank size. He was still a bug. And I think they should have gone with somebody smaller to do something like this with. But I'm interested in Planet X and hopefully some other companies doing more of this idea. Taking, okay, let's do something. Let's go down to like the chug scale. Chug. Do some deluxes and maybe some Voyagers that are just a little bit more intricate than what Hasbro normally puts out. Like, modern engineering, but cost efficient. Because that could hit off really, really well. Because then suddenly third-party figures become super affordable.
That's a good point, yeah.
And with this 3-pack being $84, or $85 roughly, that's unusual for third-party figures. Normally it's, you know, normally you'd expect these guys to be maybe $80 a pop.
Right.
And for all three of them for $85, that's tempting to me, even though I'm not interested.
And that's Robot Kingdom price, so there is shipping too, because BBTS wants like $120 for them. So
okay,
keep that in mind.
I didn't realize that bit.
Yeah, but depending where you order from, who you order from, you could probably get them around like the $90 mark, which isn't bad. Yeah,
so that puts them at about $40 each, if
probably,
the set's $120. Yeah. That's still not bad.
No, I like what I see from them. I know they're smaller and all that, but I think for the price is fair for the size. You know, I'm guessing they look like they might be just a pinch smaller than Planet X's Swoop figure, and that's definitely a deluxe size figure. And you know, I would say these have to be smaller and simpler if they're like $30-$40, because Kalis was like $70. You know, he's a bit overpriced for what he is, in my opinion. But yeah, this is cool. Anyone else have comments about the Insecticons?
I'm just amazed that they're still making figures for the games.
Yeah, but we have some news that's a little different from them too that we'll get to. But next up, we have their FOC Ultra Magnus. So follow Cybertron style Ultra Magnus. Now, he's not actually in the story part of the game at all, but he is a playable character in the multiplayer part of it. Now, I was talking with my friend Eric about this figure because I thought it looked pretty cool, and you know, he doesn't like the figure. He likes all their others. This one, he said, well, the game version, if you look at the, you know, how it's animated in the game, it has an all-in-one transformation. And this one does like the G1 version where it's a white version of their Optimus figure, and then it has a bunch of armor bits. And you move the armor bits different places depending if you're in, you know, the big armored vehicle mode or his robot mode. So let's take a look at him and we'll discuss that more.
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
I'm looking at this with pictures of the game.
Yeah.
right here in the thread.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are just being freaking picky. I understand you might have wanted it to be an all-in-one transformation, and other than a few proportional things, I feel like this nails this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some proportions
close.
that are off, but that's going to happen anytime you got to make something like that's 3D and didn't really transform into something that's real and tangible in front of your face that actually has a transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they were wanting a repop of the Hasbro toy, then in that case, this doesn't come anywhere near that.
The Hasbro toy was terrible, though.
It will,
really.
Yeah.
But one thing I actually like how this looks, and I've always liked the idea of like the G1 Ultra Magnus or armoring up a figure to make him big. That doesn't bother me, even if you have to parts form it a bit. And I really like how this looks. I think he looks awesome. The only things I'm not thrilled with on it when I look at it is like his forearms. You see the white inner bot's arm in there. Like they could have had some type of panel to cover that, in my opinion, just to make it look a little more solid. I do like that the white inner robot is white with some green highlights. Like they're hitting off the Minimus Ambus kind of thing there. I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah.
I think they could have stopped like half the complaints about this if the back truck panel that's on his leg, if they just made that one piece fucking blue. Yeah. I think that would have solved a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen people say they wish that they just painted the inner white robot like a matching blue to the armor. That way it would all blend in.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Like, actually looking at one of the pictures of the vehicle mode, there's some, like, blue bumper pieces that kind of line up with the truck leg parts, which are then white. Like, it doesn't work. They should flow into each other, and the change of color, like, I think it would work better if that were all blue.
Yep, I think that's the big mistake they made, was a color.
Plus, in the robot mode, those big white chunks on the sides of his blue legs look silly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still, this is a great looking figure.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
If you're not being like masterpiece appreciation thread levels of picky on this shit, then this is a good figure.
Yeah, I'm actually. This is on my list of like something I might want. It's not top of the list by any means, but I've always wanted, like I said, something like a robot that armors up, and I think if I got this would be fantastic to have. I just really love it. Alright, any other comments about Ultra Magnus?
I got something, because I'm flipping through pictures, and there are some shots you can see of, particularly, they just did not get his arms right, I think. Like, there's a shot of him holding up his hammer, and you can very clearly see, because the hands are part of the arm piece, the gauntlet piece, I guess. You can very clearly see a gap of empty space between the bottom of the hand and the inner arm underneath it. Because the inner hand is flipped in, and there's just empty space in between, and it looks like he's got floating hands. That irks me. But I realize that maybe I'm getting masterpiece appreciation thread levels of picky there.
Yeah, that's possible. And we all do it. Especially on something that's like, something that means something to us.
I can see that, but still, I think for what this is, it's really badass. I think it goes for about 115 or so, which that doesn't seem too bad. I think their Optimus was like 90, so not a whole lot more to get the upgrade pieces, the armor pieces. So not bad. All right, let's move on to the next topic, and this just was shown today as of this recording, and Planet X posted this on Facebook, and it says, Planet X is venturing into different TF universe. This is verbatim, so that it's missing some grammar. Yeah, PX is venturing into different TF universe. Stay tuned for more information release on PX-C01 Ismenios. Hereby attached actual prototype black image for now. Enjoy. So basically they're saying, hey, we're going to do something, and it's not Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron for this figure. And the silhouette looks to be a Deathsaurus, or Dezaurus, however you want to say it. That's very, very, very interesting. Because looking at it, the Dragon mode looks very IDW. The bot mode, you can't really totally tell if it is or not. But people are wondering, is it going to be IDW? Is it more Japanese G1 looking? Is it a combo? What scale? What price? All of that.
Is it going to look more like it kind of came out of halfway out of the Fall of Cybertron games so that it'll match their other figures?
Yeah, there could be that too. And of course, people were saying, "Oh, I thought you guys were just going to stick with this one universe you're making figures in." And they said, "Well, of course we're going to make more Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron figures too. We're just doing something else as well. There's no reason they can't." And at the same time, like a few hours before this recording, Lenny, aka Decepticon, he's a big, works with MMC a little bit. He's probably their biggest fan. He said, yeah, that Planet X one looks cool, or you can wait for the MMC one. And he shared a picture. It's a render of the head for Deathsaurus, and looks really cool and pretty accurate to, the Milne artwork, because he also shared a really awesome picture of Deathsaurus that Milne did for More Than Meets the Eye. And, it's an early render of the head, but it is very accurate looking. So, let's hear some comments. What do you think of Planet X doing something that's not Fall of Cybertron and it's Deathsaurus?
I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a demon?
No. It could be bunnies.
Yes.
But no, I think that, we saw their Asclepius go down in price. That's the Perceptor. And we've seen, and now we've seen smaller Insecticons.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe this Fall of War for Cybertron stuff's maybe not selling quite as good as it used to anymore.
Yeah, it's a little old now. So,
and I think that's why they're branching out and making things that don't cost as much, thinking, okay, well, if we completely stop the Fall of War for Cybertron stuff, there are going to be people that are going to be upset. Obviously, right. From what we've seen in the thread about this. Like, hey, I thought you were only doing da-da-da-da-da-da. So they're going to branch out, and they're going to throw a bone to their loyal fans. But they're going to get trounced by MMC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm looking at these silhouettes, and especially the dragon mode with that head looks enormous. There's no way that's meant to be anything resembling the More Than Meets the Eye design, which is what I would expect MMC to do.
That dragon thing reminds me more of that, because I didn't watch all of the new RID, but it reminds me more of that bird character that said, shiny!
But that silhouette looks very, very High Moon aesthetic-y.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
Which would be interesting. I certainly am curious to see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, More Than Meets the Eye, Deathsaurus is the one that I know as a character.
Yeah, same with me.
The only other thing about the character that I like is that he's a kaiju and that his name is kind of cool if you spell it right, which Deathsaurus is not my preferred spelling. I actually like Desaurus better, but
Mm-hmm. It's your collection. You can call him whatever you want.
This is true, especially since he's not actually going to be called that.
I like I looked up the name that Planet X came up with for it because they always have really interesting names.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
And they all seem to be taken from particularly Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
I looked this one up. It's a reference to the Ismenian dragon, which was defeated by Casmus on the spring of Ismene at Thebes, Greece. Sorry.
Oh,
Thebes.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some interesting mythology stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the guy who runs Planet X is just a Greek mythology nerd, or if he Googles all this stuff too.
Could be both.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
yeah,
it could be a mix
they always
of
have
that.
cool names, except Quirinus was a
kind
That
of
was from
unfortunate.
something though.
yes, a
Oh,
little
wait.
unfortunate. Great figure, but unfortunate name.
I like the swoop where everyone was trying to figure out how to pronounce it, and I heard like 3 different versions. I'm like, guys, it's Chelus. It's the Latin for sky or heaven.
Oh, I didn't even know it was pronounced that way till right now. It's
Well-
Chelus.
In fairness, I'm using ecclesiastical Latin.
Mhm.
Classical Latin, it would be Caelus.
Okay. Well, that's a cool name then.
Ecclesiastical Latin is church Latin. That's what we Catholics do.
Yeah. RD, do you like Deathsaurus or Desaurus?
I was just writing out his Japanese pronunciation. It's Derutu Seruturus.
Wow.
Seriously?
No, not seriously.
I thought it was more like Deskusarasu.
I have no connection to the character. I don't know who he is, but like Josh just said, he's a kaiju. That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the silhouettes look all right. I'm interested to see what it looks like. I don't think I'll be buying it though.
Yeah. You know, if MMC made a really good-looking IDW-styled one, because he has shown up in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, and who knows if he'll be back or not.
He will. He's
I
already
would like
come
it
back.
just to... Well, I mean, like, again, because, you know, ever since Nickel transported with the scavengers, we haven't seen him again.
In
True.
in G1, he was a Firecon, right? He was like one of the worst toys.
No, in G1 he was a Japanese figure specifically. Like he was.
No, he's one of the big, expensive, hard to
Oh.
find Holy Grail toys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like there is one toy of Deathsaurus that actually transforms. There are a couple of like little tiny plastic figurines of him, but he's one of the Japanese only figures from like Victory or Zone or something.
It's Victory.
Thank you.
Cool.
He's the boss of Leo Kaiser. Leo Kaiser.
Oh, and Leo Kaiser was in the comic. I think the last time you saw him, I think they were fighting together before Nickel transported away.
Oh, he's also a member of the Breast Force.
Well, aren't we all?
Well played.
Thank you. All right, next up is this company that Drew is a big fan of. It's Bad Cube.
Bad Cube,
Yeah.
Bad Cube. What you gonna do? Sorry.
I prefer Good Sphere.
Bad Cube is doing something really different and a
bold.
little risky here. They're putting out a figure that they're calling Steamroll, which is a masterpiece styled sideswipe, and then a kind of repaint retool called Recon, which is Red Alert. And both of them have, instead of having the wide chest that's the whole front of the Lamborghini, they actually have, they figured out a way to engineer it to where the sides can slim down so they're not as wide in the chest. And let's look at some pictures here, and let's see, what did I say about them here? So yeah, Red Alert, of course, has the like the doors and windows hanging off his arms. He has a very tune accurate car mode, and Drew thinks it's ugly because it's not accurate to reality, but it is accurate to the cartoon. And he's a little differently molded than Sideswipe.
I'll defend
And
myself
both
in
of
a
them
moment.
have, of course, That's fine. You can. Both of them have real, they use like silicone rubber tires. And Red Alert, as you know, has tires on his shoulders. The Masterpiece did it they kind of faked it. So the tires on his shoulders are just these little thin fake parts. Whereas Bad Cube has his actual tires end up on his shoulders. So that's kind of cool. But let's look at some pictures here. And Drew, you can say the next part because looks like you wrote it.
Oh, where Bad Cube spent some time on a... Yeah, I mean, I messaged back and forth with Bad Cube a bit. And they sent me the new head pictures, the close-ups, before they were actually released out into the world. So for a minute there, I thought he was talking to me about it and like snapped me a shot, but apparently he'd already snapped those shots and those were going out anyway. So, it's fine. As far as the Red Alert car mode goes, it's just, that's fine. If somebody really, really wants a cartoon version of that car mode, it's all cool, but you really can't have that engine in the back with no intakes. Because he'll be putting out his own fire in the back.
Yeah, and about the face, a lot, the way they took the pictures of Sideswipe, it just added this extra shadow onto his face and made his cheeks look really weird and sunken in, and it just gave the face this weird looking shape that wasn't how he actually looks.
They're going
new
for
pictures.
Dramatic lighting, and that's not necessarily the best way to show off a product.
Right, exactly. Fans Toys does that a lot as well, where they kind of go for dramatic lighting, and it makes the colors look really weird, and then they kind of Photoshop it a bit to try to get it close to reality, but it just doesn't work. But the actual face for Sideswipe isn't bad, and they've had some complaints, of course, even when people saw the new one, which isn't too bad. And they said that they are considering making his face, and this is a quote, his face and head sexier due to the feedback. So they could probably change that. It might delay the release a little bit, but that's pretty common with third party anyway.
What's a release schedule?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I always think it's funny when people on like TFW are asking like release with question mark. They're like, and then when it doesn't come out, when the little dates are on the different store websites, they're like, God, they're late putting this out. I'm like, are they? Because that's just some arbitrary date that was put out there. I'm like, I'm kind of like, if you are buying third-party products, you should know it's probably not going to come out when the store said it would, or when the company said they're aiming for this date. It's like, just be patient. Things come out when they do.
We get there when we get there.
One thing really cool about these, both of these, is the Lamborghini modes have a lot less panels going on than the Masterpieces do. So they look a lot sleeker and a lot more realistic. That I like a whole lot. I have both Masterpiece Sideswipe and Red Alert, so when I saw this, I thought there better be something really good that I would care about that's an upgrade from those to get both of them and swap them out. For me, I don't know 100% that there is. I know Drew loves Sideswipe and Sunstreaker. I like them. I also like Red Alert, and I probably like Red Alert a little more. He was my first car bot that I bought for Masterpiece. So seeing, Bad Cubes and looks a lot more accurate to the cartoon, I like that. I'd be more in for going for him if I'm going to try one of these. That's just me, though. Anyone want to comment?
I am trying to figure out how they made the chest slimmer.
Same.
I mean, it's a fake...
The center, the hood section moves out of the way and it compresses.
Kind of like Jazz.
Yeah.
It flips.
Yeah, I think it flips to the center of the chest because you don't see the little Lamborghini symbol on it.
It's
Robot
behind the window on his back. I see it in there.
Oh.
Maybe not in these photos, but in some of the photos you can see it through the glass on his back.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, another thing that they did, which is kind of cool, besides they made it kind of to match the Masterpiece Sunstreaker, so you can open the hood and the doors can scissor up and all that. But they also did it where the shoulder-mounted cannon is part of the transformation. Like, you don't have to take it off. I don't even know if it can come off. But that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, and the headlights can flip up. That's cool. But the fact that the cannon like splits in half for transformation and ends up inside the car, that's kind of cool and kind of crazy too.
It can come off because it's on a different shoulder on one to the other.
Ah, okay, yeah. I see, like, Sideswipe has it on one and Red Alert the other, so yes. And slightly different mold for the cannon between them as well. And Red Alert, of course, has the... he has like a neutral face, a panicky looking face, and a smiling face, because there's this awesome picture of him looking up at Masterpiece Inferno and smiling, and that won me over. That picture right there, I'm like, okay, that makes me want to get Red Alert.
You're a shipper.
Cool.
Apparently. Oh, and Bad Cube did show in the weirdest picture, because it's MP Grapple with the chest part from MP Inferno that has a little base on it where you can put MP Red Alert in there. So they showed that with their version of Red Alert in that little tray, so you can have your Inferno holding your Red Alert. It's that one thing from that one episode type thing. Yeah. But that's cool that there still does that.
I love you, Inferno.
Now, Red Alert. One thing that's cool, the back of Sideswipe and the back of Red Alert are different, so they look pretty tune accurate with that. Sideswipe just has like the windshield and roof of the car, whereas Red Alert has that, but the spoiler is also on his back, so that's kind of cool. And Sideswipe comes with the jetpack, which also fits on MP10 Optimus Prime. That's really awesome too.
We'd be remiss to not point out that these articulate way better than the originals.
Yeah, they do.
The poses they have them in are, some of those things are things that I can't get Sideswipe to do.
Yeah, I think they have like ab crunch for one thing. The way they did the waist area,
the legs do more.
Yeah, the waist area is very similar to how Masterpiece Sunstreaker's done, to where instead of having like flaps that lift up, it's like the whole waist part moves on either side with the leg. So, yeah.
Are we sure that the shoulder cannon is part of the transformation, or is it like just weapon storage?
No, they said it can transform without being detached.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And if you look in if you see pics of the car, you can see the cannon splits in half and is in there somehow.
It's probably got 40 steps to do it.
Yeah, it is Bad Cube.
But it does do it.
Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but there are a couple things here that I don't like, but I still feel like these look great and they're a decent upgrade from the MP. Now, the things that I don't like the most here would be the knees on either one of these. I feel like that could have looked a little nicer and been done better. I don't think they're terrible, but I do think it could have been a little better. And then I see like the like on Sideswipe, the underside of his arm is just the windows, and I feel like they could have maybe done that a little differently. But overall, I do think these are a good upgrade from the Masterpieces if you care about having a thinner chest and more articulation and all that.
I, for one, like to see like actual pieces of the car out on the robot, so I have no problem with the door thing. And I think we'll find that the knees are kind of maybe the way they have to be for whatever they've done to make the legs slimmer. but we'll see.
Anyone else have something to say about the Lambros here?
Masterpiece paint is better. The red.
Unless you got one of the ones that's got like 6 colors of paint on it.
I don't think these have final paint on them yet.
Yeah, I don't think these are fully painted yet.
Okay.
I don't think they are either. So there is that too. And I'm very, I had the, you and I had the Sun Surge. You kept yours, I sold mine. But Sun Surge's paint was killer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, God, that was super duper nice. Doesn't it have like the little metal flake sparklies in it too?
It looks, I'm not going to say it's got sparklies in it, but it's like it looks like car paint.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks, and it actually matches the plastic, which is like so hard to do with yellow.
Yeah. I'm looking at some pictures that show them from like the front, the side, and the back for each figure. And the Sideswipe has like the spoiler parts are on the back side of his like legs or feet. And then, of course, Red Alert has it up on his back a little more. Only thing they could have done with Red Alert is the cartoon doesn't have the light bar on his back. So I wish that maybe flipped around or something. But that's
so picky.
That's being super duper picky.
It is.
I will probably pick up the Red Alert at the very least because I like that. And
that's good because then you'll pick it up and I'll pick up the other one and we could talk about talk about the things that they have on them that are different. Yeah.
Yeah. And the jetpack is what's making me go, ooh, I would like that for my Optimus Prime from Sideswipe. So
everybody in this fandom's so about Optimus Prime.
Yeah. He was great. All right. Any other comments about any of this bad Cube stuff?
I think we covered it.
Okay. Next up, we have something that's this is a little thing that popped up that's just hilarious to me. And Jizay Toys, and I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Jizay. It's got an extra syllable.
But he's doing basically it's a figure that it turns into a Jesus Christ on the cross. And then it transforms into like a, I don't know, like a crusader looking knight. And it has the INRI on it as well.
It's a Templar knight.
Yeah, Templar knight. And it's a little controversial, and my comment when I saw it was, okay, well, now I want to see a Star of David that turns into a robotic rabbi with Yamaka ninja stars, and a lot of
a robi.
A robi.
A robi, yes.
Oh,
that's good.
There's a lot of likes and retweets on that tweet.
This thing's just ridiculous. I don't know how Jose puts out any of his figures or if he just shows them like that for amusement.
This guy's
Josh, why
the designer of those Fans Toys Headmasters, I think.
Really?
Oh,
Isn't
really?
that same guy?
I couldn't tell you if
I feel like
he's doing good work because those look awesome.
I feel like that's that guy. Fans Project. I said Fans Project, right?
You said Fans Toys. He did
no,
the Fans
I meant
Project
Fans
ones?
Project. You know, the ones with the weird
well,
transformation.
Yeah, the Function X line. Yeah, those are
I
very
know
well
this
received.
is the guy that made that really popular like Garage Kid RC for that festival thing back in the day, that convention.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that thing, yeah. So, Josh, what do you think of the Armored Christ figure? Is it offensive to you?
I don't know. I've come up with a few jokes regarding it, honestly. I think when I first saw it, I shared it on Facebook with the caption Deus Vult ? Which is that's sort of a Catholic meme. Deus Vult literally means God wills it, and it was what was used by Crusaders as sort of a battle cry. And so within Catholic meme culture, that's sort of a thing, just sort of a play on the Crusades in general.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that I just came up with the other day was, you know, how as Jesus was on the cross, some of the Pharisees were saying to him, "If you truly are the Son of God, come down from that cross."
He was like, all right.
You were saying...
I feel weird saying this, but I was just noticing how the nails are points of articulation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Are they?
It's like his feet are actually nailed to the... Yeah, it's...
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
wow.
what's really cool about this is the actual engineering of it is surprisingly fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I showed it to... Oh, yeah, the nails in the hands are articulation points. That's really interesting. I was showing it to my parents the other day,
Wow.
and oh my gosh, the robot armor hands have the stigmata in them. I don't know how to feel about that. There are holes in the robot hands.
I see that, yes.
Oh, man.
And she's...
Yeah.
And my mom was just like, no, you take that off your Facebook.
Oh,
And
God.
it's Jesus is not a transformer. And then I kind of said, no, Mama, look, watch the animation. He's not transforming. The cross is transforming around him, and he's wearing it as armor. The corpus remains intact.
He's indestructible.
Yeah.
But he does have a 3-day respawn.
The nails at his feet also articulate around to
I
make
can't
the
make
robot.
any jokes.
Oh. All right.
It's
Well, that's
really
just
well
ridiculous,
designed.
but-
I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's really well done.
And
All
look
right.
at the base of the cross is made so you can stand it up.
Mhm.
The only thing it's missing is a hole at the back of the head of the cross to hang him up.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And it almost has that because it's got that big opening for the head.
Mm-hmm.
I want it.
So you could mount him on a wall that way.
I don't know, if it's going to get like manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
But if it does, I kind of want it.
You know what's cool? It looks like the helmet flips back so you can see like his head. He can peek his head out through the armor.
Oh. Let's see. Let me what? Oh yeah, I think it would. Yeah, it definitely can. That's cool. That is neat.
It's like you're getting your ass kicked by this armored thing, and you're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "It's me, bitch."
No. That's not it. That's not what he's...
That's not what Jesus would say.
Pray for your life, Megatron.
All right, well, let's move on to the next thing.
Note to self, go to confession.
We're going to talk about some
Movies.
movie figure stuff, so Drew's not going to care too much for this. But first up, we
Because
have
he's a poo.
new articulated hands for Studio Series Blackout. And this is from Shockwave's lab, and it's called SL28. So, yeah, it gives him his proper 3-fingered hands, and they can articulate. Now, Josh, question for you about those. I've seen debate about whether you have to take off the original hands or if they just fold in and these clip on or what. What do you think is the way they work here?
Looking at it, it definitely looks like the original hands are folded in,
Mm-hmm.
and these clip on over them. The question then is, what do you do with them when he transforms? And I don't know. I can't tell. We got 3 shots. That's not enough.
Yeah, and they don't really show how they work other than, hey, this is what they look like on the robot mode, but
Like, these are obviously like 3D printed, all one color, super early prototypes.
Do you like how they look, though?
ways. I like what they are.
Uh-huh.
I actually would say that I don't quite like how they look. The original hands have something on them that these don't. and that's like actual screen accurate sculpting detail. And I think I mentioned it before, like there's a wire that goes from the back of his hand and curls around onto one of his fingers. That's molded in on the original, and I was talking about that before, and how I really appreciated that they went to that extra detail, and these don't have that. So that makes me a little sad. But these can actually do things and look like hands.
Yes.
So there is that.
That's very true.
And they
And
rotate.
even if they
so they don't have to be...
wrist swivel, they look like they are fully articulated for, the funky 3-finger claw hands that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of looks
they're
like
pinned.
there's a twist in the lower knuckle, too. But maybe not. But in the picture where he's holding the sword,
Yeah.
it looks like there's some... And it may just be...
I see what you mean, yeah.
Like there's a yeah, they're not on a flat plane. The two fingers, like when I first looked at the picture, I'm like, okay, those two fingers are on a flat plane with each other, and that looks kind of stupid. But it looks like there might be a swivel to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be an illusion with just the way they're sculpted,
Which is fine too.
because the fingers are sculpted with a sort of a tapering angle.
It's all about the look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, it's still, even if it is just, because I'm looking at it, it looks like they're pinned. Like, I can see the hinge, and it looks like that's just a straight pin through them.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
But, like, the fact that they get that look to them when you articulate them right, okay, if they don't actually move that way, but they look like they do,
Cool.
fine, yeah, I'll take it.
These cool looking hands are almost enough to make me want this figure. Not
These
enough.
cool-looking hands are, like, I will buy them. I don't care whether they incorporate... Okay, I would like it if they could incorporate into the vehicle mode somehow. There's a lot of dead space under that thing. I feel like you can... Like, even if you just kind of shove them in under Scorponok, I'm okay with that. As long as they'll stay.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's not really an easy way to just straight swap out the hands. This clip over the original aspect is kind of the only way to do it. Because the original hands are pinned in, and it'd be a heck of a time to get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody will want to do that.
You got to make it where people want to do it, or there's no point.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. We have DNA Design Studio. DNA Designs, they're doing an upgrade kit for Studio Series Grimlock. So this comes with a new articulated left hand, a new right arm, and they made a new mace with opposable chain and a spear. And it also has an articulated tail for the dinosaur mode. So it does have a good bit of pieces there. Yeah, looking at the picture, so instead of having a mace as a hand, you can have an actual hand on the figure, which is cool. They swapped out his arm, the one that has the mace, so that it has proper articulation, just like the one that actually does have the hand on it. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, I like what they did here. He can have his big mace and all that. He can have the ball on the chain, which apparently only was in the movie for like 2 seconds, but it's an option for you. He can also kind of do like the Beast Wars Megatron thing and use his tail as a gauntlet. I know he doesn't do that in the movie, but it's an option for the tail, the new tail, if you wish.
Andrew, he doesn't do anything in the movie.
That's true, he does not. He really doesn't. So looking at the dinosaur
I think they should have
mode,
just made a whole new figure.
I don't know about that. But looking
Somebody
at
is. Isn't somebody going to be doing...
G Creations.
Yes,
Can we,
that's
can, we,
right.
can we make a whole new figure that actually somewhat resembles Grimlock? I'm sorry.
This one really looks like Grimlock, Drew. Oh,
Yeah, the figure really does.
No, yeah. Josh caught it. Josh finally figured out
I know
where
what
I'm
you
at.
mean, but it
Ugh.
doesn't work. The joke doesn't work for me because it does look like what it's supposed to.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But
like-
one
Okay,
thing
yeah, the design's not great, but That's what he looks like.
And the figure is really awesome, actually. One thing that's cool, what is that gross sound?
Who's eating chips?
The mace, or the what weapon is that? His, hold on. His battle spear, the end of it actually becomes like parts for the neck for the dino mode. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, kind of gives him a more cohesive look. You know, the tail's articulated, which is cool. If you want weapon storage, he can have it in his dino mode. I don't know why you'd want that. The only thing I wish this kit did was figure out a way to maybe add some parts that can cause that little flap part that's under the tail to clip in. That's the only thing I wish this had. RD, do you care about this movie Grimlock upgrade?
Not even a little bit.
You've just been quiet a lot this show, so wanted to see. So I guess it's just Josh and me that might care about it.
Yeah. Thanks for checking in, though.
Sure thing. Go drink your tea, ass.
I want to see the final version of it, like all painted up. Because if they can match the look of the figure, then that might be enough for me to maybe pick up the figure. Because that I as beautiful as the paint is on Studio Series Grimlock, one, I don't much care for the character, at least not that version of the character, and two, that hand, the mace not being a hand is the one thing that gets me. Is nope, I want your mace to be able to turn into a hand too. I like my toys to have two normal hands unless their names are Shockwave.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, one of the Shockwaves that I own has two normal hands. And you just clip the gun over one of them.
Mm-hmm. Is that the Fall of Cybertron one?
Yippers.
I would say if you can, I also don't care about the character of this movie Grimlock. I just thought the figure looked awesome and I wanted to see how it worked. And after I got it, I was like, that's not a bad figure, especially for what I paid for it. I don't know that I'd get the upgrade kit for it, though. I mean, I like what it does, but I don't know if I care about this Grimlock enough to upgrade him.
Which Grimlock is this? It says SS Grimlock.
Studio Series, it's a leader class Hasbro figure. Okay. It's actually shared Takara Hasbro because the boxes have both companies on them. But he's huge. I mean, he's really tall even for a leader.
Cool. And, he's nice, like proper green leader size.
Yeah.
Not like the new leader size. He's what leaders used to be.
Yes, and he has this nice metallic green like wash paint on him. So he looks really good.
They don't make leaders like they used to. You hear me, Washington?
No, they don't.
He thinks he's
that was funny. Good. Alright, well, let's move on to the next topic, which is another movie figure, but a really cool one. Unique Toys Challenger. We have new colored pics and even a little video. It's a low quality video, but it shows the transformation. So this is Unique Toys. This is their masterpiece styled version of the Age of Extinction / Last Night version of Optimus Prime. So, I watched the transformation video because I was curious how it worked, and it seems maybe a little easier to do than Peru Kill, but it's very similar to him in that it hides all of the truck parts inside of him with very little kibble. So that was really cool looking. Josh, since you and I are the ones who care a little bit about movie figures here, what do you think?
I think this is not a figure that I really wanted to get. Like, I don't like this design for Optimus very much. I prefer the first movie design.
Yeah, me too.
But, gosh dang it if this thing isn't beautiful!
Mm-hmm.
I really am tempted to buy it for the sheer engineering of it and the fact that they made it and that they made this truck turn into this robot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got to see this now.
Yeah. I'll
See this
make
or say this? What?
Some comments here. The figure looks like it comes with his big, the big sword. He has his shield. He has, this is cool, both masked and unmasked, faces, heads, and they have it with the Nemesis like red paint on it and without it, and his eyes can also light up, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, definitely
Yeah.
light up eyes.
And then the truck, the doors can open in truck mode, which is cool. I don't know if there's a steering wheel in there or not.
Oh, there's definitely not, because the only picture we have of the doors open is from straight forward staring at the front of the truck. There's nothing inside.
Yeah.
If they had an
And
interior,
even being
they'd
a
show it off.
prototype, the paint on this thing is gorgeous. So I can only imagine the final paint will be even better. So
Okay,
yeah,
now remember we've seen the original unpainted prototypes of this before.
yes,
And we talked about it and compared it to Alien Attack, and Drew had the stupid opinion of liking Alien Attack's version better.
I remember that.
And one of the complaints Drew had about the truck modes of them, particularly, if I recall correctly, was that Alien Attacks was much cleaner and less panel liney, and Unique Toys was just full of panel lines everywhere. So Drew, take a look at this truck mode.
Oh yeah, no, it looks clean. It looks like what it's supposed to look like. It's unfortunate that what it's supposed to look like looks a bit shit to me. But Andrew and I talked a good bit in detail this week about, not calling things pointless, because to somebody that's the thing that they want the most in life.
Right.
Kind of like Bad Cube Sideswipe for me. So, it's important that I put out there that, this looks like what it's supposed to. It's just so not for me. But God, you're right, the paint's beautiful on it. The molded the molded details look exactly like they're supposed to, if, just from cursory glance, because I'm not that familiar with that source material, because I think I barely got through this movie. But, it's there. It looks like a quality product.
What really astonishes me, particularly about the vehicle mode, is like having seen the prototype and how many panels there are, and like how it, having seen all the gaps and stuff, that I'm looking at the painted version, I can't see any of the panels anywhere. It looks like one solid piece. Like I can see the central panel down the middle of the hood, but apart from that, even knowing where some panels are, I can't see them looking for them.
Yeah, it looks like they lined it up really well.
Like that raised bit on the hood, those like end up on the backs of the arms, so I know those are separate panels, but I can't see where it separates. So that's really neat. That I guess it's an optical illusion of like the flame deco, is that there's so many lines waving around that it hides the gaps.
It's like the same concept as urban camo.
It even looks like the flame paint lines up with other panels. It's They put some effort in here, and even in this picture, because I can see that the front of the truck's not tabbed in right in this one picture in the front with the doors open.
You're right.
You could still see how well everything could line up.
It's very impressive. Another thing, it looks like he comes with a full Merlin staff, or the the tiny version too, which he can store in his chest for some reason.
I think he does put it in his chest in the movie, maybe, possibly.
Yeah,
because that's where the Boston guy that's from Texas rides, and that's what he's going to need that.
Yeah. Oh man, those last two movies were something else.
I still really liked Age of Extinction. I will agree that The Last Night had no plot.
No, it had no plot.
Yeah.
Well, it had plot. It had like 16 of them.
It had like 6 plots squelched together into a thing that didn't make sense.
It's 6 plots in a blender.
It's so long that like I lost interest, and then I got curious again and came back like a couple hours later.
And I swear, like the whole last half
the Last
hour,
Night is the shortest
whole
movie.
It felt like the longest
feels like
movie.
the longest. Yeah. Like the whole last half hour of it, and I saw it in IMAX 3D because I thought it, if I'm going to see a spectacle like this, let's see it the full way. And I swear that last half hour is like not just a visual assault, but an audio one because it's so loud and booming because of what's going on. So when the movie was over, I'm like, holy crap, I feel like I just was, went through a war or something. It's like I had to sit in my car in silence for a bit. Woo. But
back
the
to
figure,
the toy, though.
Yeah, the figure is awesome. Movie's not so
he
much.
does come with what looks like a little wrist-mounted dagger thing that I think is supposed to be for lockdown.
Okay.
That was an accessory that people were complaining was absent from lockdown, and they mentioned there are pre-order bonuses. The Merlin staff and the small Merlin staff are both pre-order bonuses, and then it just says Lockdown's stuff. But it also lists the dagger separately from that. So I'm wondering if we're not seeing some things, and that they're going to have like the spark extractor. And some kind of I think people have been saying that Lockdown was missing an arm cannon.
Spark extractor is something that's always been funny to me because, the tool you take a spark plug out with is an extractor socket. It's just funny to someone who's, works on stuff. Okay, next.
2 extra little things here. The truck mode is a Western Star 5700EX, and the height of this figure is between 27 and 28 centimeters. So, pretty big.
How does that scale with... Oh no, I said the word! With MP Optimus, or MPM Prime, I mean. Is that about the same height, do you know?
Quick. I can check. I just have to translate these. 27 cm, 2 inches. That's about... this should be just a smidge taller than the MPM Optimus then.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're probably pretty close, but I think this is a little taller. Because MP, the normal MP10 is 10 inches tall, and the MPM is just a smidge taller, and 27 centimeters is 10.6 inches. So if he's between 27 and 28, then it's probably a little taller than the MPM.
Okay.
Alright, so moving on. Let's see, what do we have next? We have some new pics of Studio Series Megatron and Brawl.
Nude pics.
And, yeah, man, nude pics. They're not wearing any clothes at all. Yeah.
I mean,
Next up on the
Megatron...
stage is Megatron. Yeah, let's hear it for Megatron.
Put some silver paint on you, Megatron. Indecent.
I saw someone did, probably in Asia, where it came out, did a crazy custom paint job on the Megatron, and it looks badass. But
the Megatron figure that's not even out yet. Where did he get one?
Well, they're out in Asia,
from
apparently.
the factory.
I know. They're out in
Oh,
Asian
that could be too.
markets.
But this thing looks awesome. We've looked at it before, but now we have some new pictures of it, and it still looks awesome. There's even a new video that came out that I saw today where it does look like there is some type of little panel that comes up and covers the part of the face, at least in tank mode. So I think Josh thought that was there, and after seeing the video, yeah, there is something there. So
it's
legit.
there. I can see it there, but no one ever closes it in front of the face. So
Right.
I'm not really sure just how well it properly covers the face.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Because, the pictures we have here of him in tank mode, his head's just kind of there. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
This needs a silver wash in the worst kind of way.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree with you there.
What this really needs is an oversized knockoff with better paint.
Mm-hmm.
Then that I will buy.
Yeah,
But
I'm
until
very
then,
sure.
I'm just going to go ahead and buy this version.
Yeah,
and then when the oversized knockoff comes out, I'll get sad that I bought the original, and then I'll sell the original, and then I'll get the oversized knockoff.
Pretty much, that's
and
how it
then
works.
I'll be very happy.
I will say, like, if you look at the Brawl pictures, there's a pic that has, Brawl, Megatron, Blackout, and Starscream all next to each other. The Megatron, actually, at least in that picture, his gray looks a little darker, because Starscream's kind of a lighter gray, so at least there's that, But, what do you think of the Brawl figure here? Like, we've talked about him before, but does he still look kind of to you?
I think that's just Brawl's design.
That is part of it, yeah. I mean, his
That
hands
is
look
definitely
really
part of
weird
it,
there.
is that he has a little bit of a wonky design.
Like he looks like Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Yeah.
Well, that almost makes me want to get him.
They went a weird way with the transformation for this one. And like the way his arms work, and how there's just arms with some panels of folded up tank turret under them is a little weird, and I don't quite like that. I feel like they could have done a better job of making the tank turret go somewhere. But I can almost kind of live with that one. What really gets me is the main tank cannon's positioning in robot mode.
Yeah, it's just sticking down right between the legs, just about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, you got a tail there.
One thing I'm not liking about him when you look at him from the back is there are hollow parts in part of the arms and the upper thighs, and it's like the other studio figures I have don't really have any of that going on, or at least they hide it really well, and on him it's just out there. So he's
in the back.
We phoned this one in, is that what we're saying?
I think they kind of did a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so. It doesn't seem like it's as good as the other ones, for sure.
Like, it definitely gets the design down for the most part. I think there are just some elements of, this needed another pass.
Yeah. Like, the tank mode looks pretty good, I think, but that robot mode, and those the hands just, the way they did them, I really don't like how the hands look. And the feet look like they have no ankle tilts at all. It just looks like they're big rectangular boxes for anything below the knee. So I don't think you're going to get any articulation there, which is unfortunate. But Brawl, plus he's really short for a Voyager. Like, Starscream and especially Megatron are very tall. So that's cool. I mean, God, Megatron's taller than Leader Blackout, so they're more charging for how much, part count and plastic you're getting rather than the height. But, I think Megatron's a definite buy. Brawl is probably not. Is that how you feel, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not feeling this Brawl, honestly.
This guy's got a leader, though, doesn't he?
Yes, there was a leader.
Brawl did.
From the 2007 line.
Yeah, that had electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty nice. I've heard that his articulation, particularly in his legs, isn't great. And he's got a ton of gimmicks that are rather obtrusive. Like, I've seen him, like, in packaging in stores long ago.
Yes.
And, like, I remember but they had the whole, and you could do the try me thing. And I remember that there's, like, some sort of a spring-loaded blade gimmick in his shin. So he has stab myself in the toe action.
Nice.
It's like, what? Why do you have a blade there?
I have that figure. I don't remember that. I have him, like, in storage, but
It just confused me.
it might be worth a
greatly.
look.
And I think TF Dream Factory put out a I don't know if it's a straight knockoff or if it has improvements, but they did a like a leader-sized looking brawl that they put out, and it looks very similar to the leader class to me with some tweaks. That one looks really badass. Alright, now let's get into some discussion questions.
Discussion.
Yeah, so first up, my buddy Eric Rosenquist, he sent in basically this discussion topic. He said, "What I'd love you to discuss is how you envision a Masterpiece Optimus Prime 3.0 and or a Grimlock 2.0. And he's like, what would it look like? What would the scale be like? The transformation, colors, would it have a toon look, and what accessories? So all of that. So RD, since we haven't heard a ton from you, why don't you take this one and let us know what you think?
Okay. For Optimus, I'd like optional battle damage.
To go with Megatron.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I like that.
And for Grimlock, I want a tiny thrust to put in his jaws.
Oh, that's fun. Yes. I like that.
And I want Grimlock to be the right size. He has to be taller than Optimus.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
It.
All right. Let's see. Josh, how about you?
It's interesting. Prime and Grimlock, I feel, are probably the two that could use another try the most. Mm-hmm. Prime's almost there. I don't think he needs much. The big things I would say is full double-jointed elbows are needed. And I realize that the way his arms are shaped, that's a little tricky. Because, they're very blocky.
Mm-hmm.
But Hasbro can do that. Hasbro and Takara. I think they can manage that. They've done Stranger Things. So that plus the other issue that I have, like the thing I really don't like about MP10 is the way that his arms transform.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something very dissatisfying about that, like, rotatey bit. Where, like, when you're transforming him from truck mode, his arms are just, like, broken, and you have to flip them back together.
Yeah.
I've handled MPO1, and I miss the gimmick of you just pull out his already properly shaped arms, and the fists slide out. I like that. That's a nice gimmick. So I'd want that, and I know that's silly and really picky, and I shouldn't care much about how that gets from one mode to the other as long as it's not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I want that one.
That's totally fair.
Another thing I would
Grimlock?
like is another thing that MPO1 had that MP10 does not is a moving mouth plate with the silly little switch on the back of his head just to make his mouth plate twiddle.
I remember that. That was kind of fun. And I like the little panels in the arms that had like he was communicating with Bumblebee and was it Starscream or something?
Yeah, I think Starscream was on the other one. That was a nice little feature.
Mm-hmm.
And but the biggest thing I would say is double jointed elbows and even double jointed knees if they can work it in.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a big thing to me, but that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Andrew. Oh no, you still got to do Grimlock. Sorry.
Yeah, and as for Grimlock, size definitely, and Grimlock's one where like the entire engineering of the figure needs to be redone. Honestly, because I had MPO8X, which was the Comic Colors version, he was beautiful, but as soon as you pick him up and start moving him, he was just a floppy mess.
So's mine.
And I don't know if it was mold degradation because this was a reissue and the mold had already been used multiple times, so maybe that was part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But like the sliding insignia gimmick in his chest didn't line up properly, which is a common problem. And just the whole way that he transforms, it's just very floppy.
Yeah.
Nothing clicks into place. You just kind of move it.
Mm-hmm.
Very much like the G1 toy. And that's not good.
Do you think ratchet joints with like a lot of increments would help that?
Not even ratchet joints with lots of increments, just like some kind of a soft detent to lock it in place in, like, the chest particularly, to lock it in place in robot mode, and like a halfway point, and then a locked in place in Dino mode was what it needed, as opposed to just this flopping loosely until you lock it in either mode.
Okay, I see.
And the other thing is just the way his hands worked was not great. And particularly that light up gimmick for his sword should not have been attempted.
Mm-hmm.
Because, one, it completely killed one of his hands and turned it into a brick.
Uh-huh.
Literally a brick with a hole and a twiddly thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And two, that because of the way it was designed and where the wiring was, the gimmick worked for approximately 40 seconds after I unboxed the figure before the wiring came loose.
Oh, wow, that's bad.
Yeah, and I opened it up and I had my first experience with a soldering iron, and you know, my dad walked me through how it works, and like, okay, you got to be careful, don't touch the metal part.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to solder the wire back together, and as I'm working, I like reposition the thing in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I pull a stupid, oh, this is a pencil that I'm holding, and slide my entire hand all the way down to the metal end of the thing.
Oh no.
I like,
Nope.
as I touched it, I'm like, wow, that was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like a natural physical thing to do.
Oh.
Like, my dad was watching me the whole time. He was like, I told you not. I know you told me not to do that. I know what I did. I know that was stupid.
There's like certain pain that makes you see stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't that. Fortunately, I let go of it fast enough that it didn't even really burn me.
Okay.
Like, my finger
good.
was red for a day, but after a day it was fine. It was back to normal. So that was fortunate.
Yes.
Okay.
And nothing.
Let's get back.
Nothing caught fire. But I did resolder the wire. I did fix it. I did put everything back together. I pushed the button. It lit up. I moved his arm, and then it was broken again.
Wow. And
Yep.
and that was a Takara one, not like a Hasbro one.
It was Hasbro Asia, actually.
Oh, okay.
So it was that Hasbro Asia reissue of the MPO8X. But just like that whole gimmick
Yes.
was poorly designed.
All right. Anything else you'd want on a new Grimlock?
The option definitely to have the Comic Colors version is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing I would say, particularly after having seen MPO8X, is no gray. Do that silver paint, because that silver paint is gorgeous to look at. And, you know, make his teeth hurt. Give him those sharp
All right.
teeth. And keep the eye color change gimmick. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was cool. Okay. Well, Drew, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
You go.
Okay. For Optimus Prime, some of what Josh said is what I want. Like, yes, double jointed knees, elbows. I would also like some butterfly joints in the arms. I think, they've been doing that on the masterpieces lately, and I would like to see that. They even, figured out how to do that with Megatron, so I think that would not be out of the question for them to do. And I would like Optimus Prime's look and proportions to be how he looked in the movie. I think they haven't really nailed that look yet. And, I'm fine if they have to have, like, the two different grills like they've done on MP01 and 10 to nail the look for each one. But yeah, I'd like him to look how he did in the movie. I'd like him to have, he can have his, in the movie, his faceplate's different, so I'd like to have a head with that, and then, or at least change out, swappable faceplates so he can have the movie look or the toon look for that. I think that would be cool to have. MP10, I like the figure, but his feet are a little weird how they work, especially with the ankle tilt, and it ends up being a little loose. So having that part work better and not get loose, maybe it has, I don't know what they can do to tighten that up, but it seems like newer MPs are tighter and better tolerance, and they don't loosen up like that. So they can do that. That would be cool. Yeah. So that's what I'd want with Prime. Accessories, of course he needs the Matrix of Leadership. Maybe have that jetpack for his back, as the needs that. Needs his Energon, axe. I think that's a cool thing to have. Of course, needs his blaster. Needs the trailer with all the little with the little roller inside. I think all of that's great. He should still come with all of that. For Grimlock, I do agree with RD. Grimlock should be taller than Optimus. So, yeah, definitely make him bigger. I have the original Toys R Us release of Grimlock, and to me, he's more toy aesthetic than toon aesthetic. So I would like one that's, the body shape at least, and the dino mode, I would like to be a little more toon, going more toward the toon and the shape of it. Color-wise, I do like what Josh said. Make him silver. Make it look really awesome like a metal robot dinosaur. Do that. Make his teeth chrome, because I did like that on the original version. But, do that. I don't know if they should make the gold part yellow or not like it was in the toon. I just think that would make it look cheap. So if they keep it kind of gold looking or some shade of gold, that would look cool. I like the eye color swap gimmick is a good idea. Get rid of that wagging the tail, shaking the head thing that the MP has, because that was the main problem with the original. Yes, that's the main problem. That's why he's kind of loose and floppy. If they get rid of that, that would be great. Do that. Now, could you actually see his dino head sitting on his back in robot mode in the toon?
Yeah.
I can't recall if that was there or not.
Yes.
Okay, so you can. All right. I kind of feel like it would be cool if it could sink into his back just a little bit instead of just completely hanging off. I'd like it if they could have it sink in so the top of the head goes in and just the bottom jaw part's sticking out. I feel like that would slim him up a little bit if they can pull that off. That would be really cool to see. Accessories he should come with. He needs his brain transfer unit for Computron. I always thought that was cool. The Takara one had that, and of course had a serving tray and an apron, and I thought that was really silly and kind of dumb, but fun nonetheless.
I want to forget
so I think that. And I do think the robot mode needs articulated, very nicely articulated hands, but I'd also like to see in Dino mode have his, little dino arms and claws have a lot of articulation too. Make him so that he can be really expressive even in Dino mode. So, like all that, keep the, have the Dino head able to open his mouth and close it and still have the little flamethrower thing. Maybe have a little flame accessory that can hook up to that. So that's what I would like. Drew, how about you?
Okay, I want to go back to what Josh said a second ago, that he thought Optimus and Grimlock were the ones that needed it most, but that's Trax.
I don't know the MP Trax.
Yeah, it's the one that needs it the most, trust me. It looks okay, but it's like so badly put together and doesn't have hardly any articulation at all. As for Optimus Prime, I don't really care. Like, I have no interest in there being another version. I've got an MP10V, which is smaller than the Grimlock I have and bigger than an Autobot car. So that's what I want, and that's what I've got. You might think I'm being a jerk for not playing maybe there, but I just don't have an opinion. As for Grimlock, I think Fans Toys already made the best MP version too. And that's not the kind of thing I'd normally say because, I'm not really their biggest supporter. Mm-hmm. But I think that thing is the right size and already looks great. So anything Takara is going to do is either going to be just rehashing that, or they're going to make him look straight up like the Toon, which is not a good thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that's a very under-detailed character model.
Mm-hmm. It is. But, yeah, if Takara made it, Toon shaped, I think that's fine, but it does need to have a lot of details on it, and they're not doing as many these days. But, with the question, it's what would you want, not what they will actually do.
Right, well, and that's what I said. I think if if that Fantoys Grinder or whatever his name is hadn't been as pricey as it was, and if I cared just a little bit more, I would have picked that up because I thought that looked great. So if they're going to do a version 2, that's kind of what I want, and it already exists.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. All right. Well, I will say I know Eric owns Grinder, and he isn't the biggest fan of it. I think he was asking this because personally he wants a very Toon-looking Grimlock. I think is what he would be after. But
and I don't want that Toon thing at all. So it's kind of a hard to get the answer that he's looking for out of me. I think.
Well, he just wants our opinion.
No, I understand that.
One last thing. Normally I hate like the sound boxes or whatever, but Greg Berger is still alive. And I would love my Grimlock to sound like him.
Grimlock.
Yep.
That would be great. Yeah, he's a great guy too. I met him at TFCon Charlotte. He was really nice.
He was really nice.
Yeah, really friendly.
Yeah, and he does phone calls in character.
Huh.
For money, of course.
Awesome.
I think he charges 20 or 40 for it. I forget which.
Mm-hmm.
But I got him to call my sister at Disney World, and he said that he said that the Decepticons had kidnapped her brother, and they were holding him hostage. And she said, "Oh, okay, cool. They can keep him."
He's like, "You no want me Grimlock to save him?"
Nah.
Okay.
Click.
Okay, you die. All right. Well, we have one other question, and we'll answer this and then wrap up. So this is from Drew, our Drew, and he said basically Transformers Animated is now 10 years old. It was a very successful show with an equally successful toy line, and it's still very loved by fans. And we have seen no celebration or acknowledgement of this anniversary from Hasbro. Why is that? And do you think third party will start to do more animated characters? RD, were you a fan of animated?
Yeah, I love that show.
Okay, you go ahead.
I think it might have something to do with Cartoon Network. Like, there's a reason they took forever to release the third season of animated, and it was because of a Cartoon Network. So I think like even now Hasbro is kind of burnt on it, and they don't like dealing with animated. That's probably why, because of some shit behind the scenes with CN.
But they keep going back.
Yeah,
All right. Anyone else want to take this one on? Drew, do you want to answer your own question?
Here's a little bit of background. I ran across a tweet the other day. It was one of the Transformers sites retweeting a guy that goes by TransFan2, who is like the biggest animated fan. Like he kind of constantly bugs Derek J. Wyatt, the art director, on Twitter a lot, and I think he might be a slight bit autistic, and he kind of pushes a little bit hard. So he had this like 30 tweet spread of, here, Hasbro, you should do this for the anniversary and do that for the anniversary and do this for the anniversary. And that's just kind of what got me thinking about it. With it being an anniversary, I'm kind of a bit miffed as to why there's not a masterpiece animated Optimus Prime for the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just one piece that would, at least for the people who are crazy nuts about that show, would make them go, oh, well, they do still care about us. Or, you know, releasing that Leader Blackout stateside. Throw a little bone to the animated fans in some way or another. But RD may have hit it right on the head. I really wasn't aware of all that. I watched animated after the fact on YouTube, because I honestly, when it came out right after that first live action movie, and I thought it was a tie-in to the movie. You know, because here you've got Transformers, the movie, Transformers animated. So I thought, you know, they were doing something like that.
So hold on, that Blackout was leader class?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
My brain just went there. I don't know. Is it?
I
think it was a Voyager. I think.
Yeah, I want to say it was Voyager.
I don't know. Whatever it is, the hardcore and I'm not even one of them. You know, I only kept animated Blur. And that's because I just really, really loved that figure and the way it transforms and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yep, Voyager Blackout.
Okay. I actually am not the biggest fan of the way animated looks, and I don't really think I need any representations of those on my shelf. I take that back. I've got Soundwave too, because he came with the guitars and stuff. Anyway, which I thought was really cool. My thing with animated was I really enjoyed the show, in spite of how it looked.
Yeah, same here.
But I just kind of thought it was odd. You know, we had a big 30th anniversary. They put out some Beast Wars figure at Beast Wars' anniversary.
Yeah,
They put out an RC right around the anniversary of Transformers the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somewhere right around in there.
Bayverse is at its 10-year anniversary,
And that's
now
getting
we're getting studio series and such.
and that's getting all the love.
Mm-hmm.
Without a single, like, even mention of animated. Unless you want to count some lockdown figure from that horrible movie. It's some kind of animated homage.
The animated toys were really well designed, too.
And maybe that's why they don't feel like anything needs a rehash, because they're already pretty screen accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many animated characters who never got toys.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually really surprised that we haven't gotten animated Constructicon figures, for example. Like, there is a company that's doing a Dirt Boss, and I think they're also going to do the other two, but we haven't had much news on that.
That would be the kind of thing that Hasbro could put out for an anniversary that would really hype the fans of that series up.
Yeah,
those were originally intended to be Devastator eventually.
But they didn't get that extra season, so...
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you guys think third parties will start to do more animated characters now that it's 10 years old?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
Like, we've had a couple. They did that Pipes and Huffer, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like, designed after Mario and Luigi.
Right.
That apparently didn't do well. I'm not sure. I think those were iGear.
Well, that might be part of the reason they didn't do well.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe other companies have looked at that and said, oh, nobody wants third-party animated figures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking it up. Talk amongst yourselves.
Who did those two? I can't remember. It may have been iGear. I can't remember.
I thought it was iGear. And their names were like...
Mech Ideas. Bluster and Trench.
Oh, that's right. Mech Ideas, yeah.
And there was also a Mario and Luigi colored TFCon exclusive that was like available at every TFCon for like 6 years because they never ran out of them because nobody wanted them.
There's a lot of fan love, like in the backgrounds of animated. Like I've just pulled up randomly a pic from. It's a picture of the Huffer, but all the characters around it. There's Wind Charger. There's Rosanna. I mean, it really doesn't matter what. That was the thing that animated had that made it like special to people. I think is the Witwickies showed up in the background in their season 3 outfits, the spaceman costumes, and
and Corey Burton voiced Spike,
and Corey Burton voiced Spike because he was already there voicing Shockwave,
and Megatron.
Oh gosh, his Megatron's so good too.
I know. That's what Chris McFeely is doing for our Megatron, basically, is a take on that.
Pretty much.
And it really works.
All right. Well, I can't answer this question too much because I've only seen very, very little of Transformers Animated. That's one of the shows I wouldn't mind watching more of. I've seen a couple really good episodes here and there. So it's hard for me to answer that, but if I look a little to the future when it becomes Transformers Prime's 10-year anniversary, I kind of don't expect Hasbro to do much for that. But I feel like if third parties want to start doing some of those characters, those might actually sell.
Masterpiece Knockout, when?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring it.
MMC says they want to. I remember seeing that somewhere in a TFW thread. I think Lazy Aza said that Masterpiece that a Prime Knockout is something that they want to do in the future.
Yeah, that's like
the future
buy for me.
The future is now because I think everybody wants it.
You're not wrong, Drew. But I'm just thinking, well, I don't expect Hasbro would do anything. They'd go, yeah, that happened 10 years ago. Why would we even celebrate it? And it's like, well, you should.
They do Beast Wars and stuff, so.
Yeah. I don't know. And to me, Prime is one of their most successful shows that they've done in the last several years. So,
well, here's the thing about, I think, Hasbro and anniversaries is Beast Wars just had its 20th anniversary, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, we might
people who grew up with Beast Wars, they were 10ish when it came out. 20 years later, they're 30ish.
10 years ago, though, there wasn't the kind of market that there is right now.
But my point is, Hasbro's looking at the size of their market of, like, the people who have the hardcore nostalgia for Beast Wars are now old enough to be able to afford high-end Masterpiece figures. So that's why they're doing the Masterpiece Beast Wars stuff.
They could have thrown some kind of, like, retool on one of the Combiner Wars Prime to make him look more animated and done something small like that in one of the lines, and people would have been happy too. The Groove maybe with black and with Sergeant Stripes on his arms and a head that looks like animated Prowl. Something
that is an idea.
Something simple like, but they didn't. Apparently, they just didn't even think about it.
Yeah, and I think the reason they didn't think about it is because of the timing.
Maybe
with like say Animated's at its 10 years. Okay, so people who grew up with Animated were around 10ish. Let's go with that round number when Animated was running, and now they're around 20ish. And what do 20ish-year-olds have none of?
Money.
Exactly.
Money.
20-year-olds don't buy toys. So Hasbro is not even thinking about marketing to them.
Because you're a rare case.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, as far as Hasbro is concerned with their bottom line, I'm not in their demographic.
Right.
And look at my buying habits. I've bought one retail figure that is from a current line in the past year. Maybe 2, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. Okay, because I also bought Trypticon. All of my purchases are not things that Hasbro is doing right now. Because I'm not interested in what they're doing right now.
That makes sense.
Like, the things I'm collecting are the comic things. And the and the movie stuff, because like now that's nostalgic for me, is the original movie designs.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say?
I'm good. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
Bean footage?
It's a commercial.
Okay.
I'm doing a Retgar thing right now.
Bush's baked beans. Gotta hide that secret family recipe. Now I want to see Jose Toys make a transforming Bush's baked beans can.
Oh God!
And it should turn into the dog.
They already made God.
I was gonna say which religious figure would that turn into?
Fart gas probably.
Methane, the god of methane.
Yep.
I don't know.
All right, so this has been Figure Nights Theater episode 17. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm Andrew Schatz. You can find me on Twitter at SchatzSpeaks. That's SCHATZ Speaks. Find the Audio Knights Theater at TAKT Online. Look for them also on YouTube and Facebook. And Figure Nights Theater, we are at FKT Podcast on Twitter. Drew, you want to give out your info?
This week, what I want to give out is the @Refined Robot Co. on Twitter, who have a blog and have published my Close Contact Jurassic Park crossover story with pictures. So go check that out if you haven't. That's Refined Robot Co. on Twitter. And that's good enough for me for this week.
All right, Josh, want to give out your info?
Yes. So you can find me at T_F_Allen on the Twitters. And you can also, if you're anywhere in the Northern Virginia area, you can see me in Upper Room Theater's Hello Dolly. I'm trying to find when on earth our actual run of the show is. So it's sometime in late July. I think it's like July 17th to 23rd or somewhere around there. I'll be pushing it more when it actually happens. I'm in the ensemble for that one. Specifically, I'm Danny when Dolly's doing the hello Mandy, hello Stanley, hello Danley, and all that bit. So that's gonna be fun. Cool. And that's in Manassas, Virginia, if I didn't say.
RD, let's hear your info.
You can find me at series6podcast.com.
Whoop, whoop.
We just put out episode 13, and this is our first live episode where we just did a review of the episode on the fly. And it actually makes me wonder why I write the scripts ahead of time, because it was easy. But yeah, check us out, series6podcast.com.
Cool. Well, I'll give a little update with Audio Knights Theater stuff. Buried Thoughts of Tailgate Volume 2 has all been recorded. Just needs a little editing with the noise and volume adjustments. And then Derivative Films will turn that into a nice video for us. So look for that. That should be coming in the not too distant future. We're also still working on Swerve's Bar, the episode 2. We've got a couple voice actors that we need to record lines with, and once that's done, we can put it all together. And again, Derivative Films will do the stop motion for that, and that's a pretty solid script. I think people will like that one as well. Has some nice surprises in there. So thanks everyone for listening again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
Bye.
Goodbye. Yes.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Perfect ending.
Yes!